Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I am making a video which I have been attempting to make for literal years. I always sneeze when I'm making videos because the light makes me sneeze all the time. Ugh. Although I had the idea quite a while back, I was just a little bit uncertain about how I wanted these videos to be structured. I didn't know how to do it, or just like little certain things I wasn't very sure about. But I figured if I don't just do it, then I'm not going to know how I'm supposed to do it. So I'll wing it for now and see how it goes. But there was also another issue which I want to quickly talk about. Where do I start with this? So I think it was one of you guys who actually said in the comments when I was talking about this new video series that I wanted to start, one of you had said to me that you recognised the idea. So I was just coming up with the idea of doing a good deeds and happy news feed on certain videos. So it's like a weekly poop scoop of happy news and good deeds that's happened throughout the week with you guys, like shush phone. And then I found out that they had heard it before because Sugg, who is a lovely YouTuber, he is probably one of the most genuine YouTubers that I watch. He just seems like a really nice, like happy-go-lucky guy, which kind of makes this less frustrating because he's a cool dude. Cool dude, who even says that? But anyway, I found out that he had the same idea, and he came up with the idea of starting a series where he talks about good news. That's fair enough. Like, I wasn't going to be like, oh my god, he stole my idea, how dare he. Instead, I was like, good, like more people should be talking about good news, should be like bringing positive stuff into the light. Great, until he uploaded his first episode, and would you like to know what his good news video series was called?
My name is Sugg, and welcome to the very first episode of a new thing that I'm starting on this live show, which is this show is going to be called the Poop Scoop. How do we actually come up with the name Poop Scoop?
So I think it's back in the 20s or the 30s they called the news the poop. Tell me the poop.
They used to call the news back in the 30s the poop, right?
Like for slang.
And I thought poop scoop, because people say, what's the latest scoop on this person or that person?
I'm not one to moan, but what the fuck? This cannot be. Like, in my eyes, I wanted to call this series Poop Scoop because my name's NinkComPoop, and it's like a scoop, which means like where you go to get your daily scoop of information. That was a really bad definition, but I just found it bizarre how he had the same name for it, even though if I wasn't called NinkComPoop, I wouldn't call it Poop Scoop. I just wanted to give that a mention because I don't care. Like I said, he's a really cool guy. I love what he's doing. If anything, it's funny. But my main issue is that people are going to come across my video and say, why are you copying Joe? And I'm going to have to deal with comments like that now, which is fine. I can live with it, and I can count on you guys to tell people what actually happened. But I needed to mention that because not only is it weird, it's funny, and it's also really bizarre. But nevertheless, that's insignificant. Obviously, I'm going to carry on doing this. I guess I'll just call it the Poop Troop Scoop. Whatever. But basically, what this idea involved was having you guys send in good deeds and just things you've witnessed that were nice. It doesn't even need to be good deeds. I kind of just wanted that to be a starting point, but that's what it's going to be based off on. Yeah, if you witness a good deed, submit it in the comment section below. And you guys were really good, and you already started off by leaving me some really cool examples of what we can do on this video series, so thank you so much. I read them all and I've had a look through them all, and what I'm going to be doing is picking like my favourite one or maybe a couple and basing the video off of that and just chatting about it. I don't want to make these too preachy, I just want to chat about it and just like give my opinion on it, and maybe it can change your day or change the way you are a little bit and benefit you. Not that I'm Buddha or anything. I'm really hoping that I don't butcher your name, Maddie Bartlett. Bartlett? Sounds quite posh actually. But she left a really good comment. In fact, she left 2 good deeds, and I want to base this video off both of her good deeds that she left because they have really cool morals and like layers to them. They're a bit like onions. They've got lots of layers to them. The first one being, I went into a restaurant the other day when a waitress was saying about how she volunteered in a cancer research shop, doing many different things every day whilst working full time. I felt so inspired and thought about all those great things people do out of kindness of their own heart, so I decided to follow in her footsteps. My friend taught me how to do special effects and makeup and face painting really well, and now I volunteer raising money for different charities whilst doing a newfound hobby I enjoy. I chose this one because this is one of my favourite things about doing something from the goodness of your heart. They have the power to create a domino effect or a chain reaction. You don't know the impact that you have on the people around you. Now, I'm not saying to do things with the purpose of like pleasing other people or with the purpose of people seeing you and saying, oh, she's a good person. I don't mean to purposely do something for the sake of like self-gratitude or just like make yourself feel like God's gift or something, but just by doing something that you feel yourself that you would like other people to do. It's all very well to sit here and say, oh, our species is such a greedy, selfish generation and we're just all terrible people who don't help one another. But then how often are you helping people? How often do you put yourself out there to go off and do something for somebody else? Why is it when we swear or do something that could be considered inappropriate, do we look around if there's any kids like nearby or children? Because we don't want our actions to impact them. We don't want them repeating our actions because they don't know from right to wrong, right? But I don't think that actually changes. I think that throughout our entire life we're going to be influenced by what we see all the time. How often is it that you leave the house and go to town and go shopping or even just go to work and you come back feeling stressed and pissed off after being surrounded by a lot of people? Let's say you go into town to pick up a few bits and you bump into a rude bus driver who greets you really poorly, a customer who moans at you for getting in the line first, or someone who's yelling at you from the inside of their car because you've hit the traffic light button when they were about to drive past, or a bunch of busy shoppers who didn't see you and bumped into your shoulder and didn't care to say sorry. The atmosphere you're in and just the types of people who choose to put their energy into certain actions will affect your mood, and your mood will affect your own actions. Collectively, if we were all to think that way and we were all to do things for other people or just help out in a small little way because we felt that's how we would like everyone else to treat yourself, then it is that tiny little bit of potential to demonstrate to others what we can do as a human and as a helpful person. Obviously, you're not going to know whether your actions actually impacted somebody unless that person physically told you. And in my mind, that's a whole lot more fun. Like you don't know. You don't always know. The same lady then said, some girls at my school that were not very respected once saw an elderly lady who appeared to be having what looked like a stroke. They didn't really know what to do, so they called an ambulance and were instructed to do things to try and help the lady. While everyone else up the road were just walking past, these girls managed to actually save the lady's life when they could have just continued doing what they were doing. I think something all of us, or a whole lot of us, are guilty of is realising that we are probably not a lot of help, and we might want to help but we feel like we can't because we don't really know what we're doing. And I think this is a good example of that, because she was saying there was a lot of people walking around and kind of choosing to ignore it, which you see a lot, and kind of just looking away or just pretending it what isn't there, because we're awkward as humans and we don't know, once again, our potential. This sounds really preachy, but it doesn't even necessarily mean that you need to go over to said human and help them. You can just start telling people that help is needed. It doesn't matter if you're not physically able to do something about it. We all carry phones in our pockets. Who doesn't have a phone in their hand nowadays? You can use it. She's not able to pick up the phone and dial an ambulance, but you are. I also wanted to talk about her second example because that is something that I recently experienced. I mean, nothing to that scale, but I was walking through the train station with Adam, and we noticed there were quite a few chavs in the area, and they were just in groups. And I say chavs, I mean a lot of people might not know what that means, but that's basically people who like to hang out in the streets, typically like shout things at people and wear like hoodies and trackies and trainers, which is fine, wear what you want. I don't like to be judgmental, and I don't like to make assumptions about people, but if I'm going to be honest, I get quite uncomfortable around those types of people because I feel unsafe, and that is why I tend to say, oh no, there are chavs, because I'm like, I don't like chavs. Anyway, that's my point. I made an assumption. As Adam and I were walking up the stairs on the way out of the train station, we noticed that all these like guys, kids, teenagers were following us to the side, and they're walking up the stairs as well. There was a lady who was trying to push her pushchair, baby car, what are they called, up the steps. Obviously that's a difficult thing to do. I was completely unaware that she was doing this. And as I looked to my left, one of the kids in the group of I keep saying kids, what are they? Kids, teenagers? One of the guys picked up the pushchair for her and walked it up the steps. There's a tiny little thing that he did, and then she said thank you, and then he just went back to his group and continued walking off with his mates. And I'm not saying that, you know, he changed that woman's life or he did something so phenomenal, my brain was blown, but it made me think I shouldn't make assumptions that these people are terrible people because of the way they hang out in groups and they are making a lot of noise and they're chilling out in train stations. And as well as that, you don't have to be a certain type of person to help somebody. And in a weird way, the fact that I did make that assumption and the fact that I did see him do something really small and very insignificant but helpful made me feel a little bit like nice. I was like, you're probably a really cool guy, and just offered a helpful hand. Maddie mentioned that the types of people that helped this lady, although it was a lot more significant than the example I gave, she explained them as the type of people who weren't respected in the town and area, and it just goes to show that you don't have to be a certain type of person to offer help. Even though you might think you've got this reputation you need to kind of hold in front of all your pals and friends, you don't even know whether what you're going to choose to do, which may actually be a little bit out of character in comparison to how you usually act around your friends. You don't know whether one of your friends actually may be like, that was cool, you know, like what you just did was really inspiring. I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. I just wanted to explore the idea of inspiring people and doing things not just for others, but for the purpose of inspiring, like surrounding people too, and doing it for yourself. Even though I say you shouldn't do something just to make yourself feel better, I do believe that helping other people does make you feel better, and why not say that that could be another reason why you do it. Like, I'm proud of saying I help other people to make myself feel better sometimes, because you do. It is quite a nice feeling to know that you're making a positive change wherever you can. Yes, this video was inspired by a bunch of dead roses and some coffee beans, simply because good deeds look nice, which roses do when they're not dead though, and coffee makes you feel good inside and warm and content. So the moral of this video is good deeds are like coffee and roses. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Join me on social media such as Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, and I will see you guys soon. Oh, don't forget to thumbs up the video if you want. Oh, I also need you guys to leave me some good deeds down there, so get to doing that and you can feature in an upcoming video. See you soon.